What's up, guys? I hope you're doing well, and just wanted to come to you with a quick word. I'm grateful for you letting me have the night off. I love teaching our students, and a lot of times we try to coordinate with the volunteer leaders that we have to have teen class when I'm out of town. But we had all but one out of town in some of the things. So we decided to postpone to next week. So we'll see you next week. But had the thought to come to you with just a quick lesson, just something that I think would be helpful if you're a student, helpful if you're a parent, helpful for your family. And so just want to, I'm gonna try to, the teenagers always laugh at me when I say this, but I'm gonna try to be quick and just give you a quick thought today on some of the things that you can just engage and maybe spark some conversation within your home. And so the thought that we're coming to actually earlier this year, myself, Glenn Newell, and Trent Thompson, two of our leaders in the youth group, we went to a men's retreat and we heard all sorts of great teaching. One of the lessons they presented is actually the lesson that I want to share with you. I was looking over it and I thought, man, this would be killer for families if they would think on some of these thoughts and really try and apply them in their home. And so we're going to jump right in. I told you I'd try to be quick, so I hope you'll engage with this and stay with us through to the end. The passage is 2 Timothy 2, and in this passage, Paul is writing to a younger leader in the church, Timothy, and saying, hey, this is who you're looking for as people who are going to be leaders in the ministry, disciples in the faith. We're making a big push in our ministry this year on discipleship and what it means for you to take a next step on the way of following Jesus and what that means for your home. And so here's the verses. Let me read them to you, and then we'll just jump into one section of it. It says this. It says, you, therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Christ Jesus. Think about this. It says, verse 2, what you have heard from me in my presence and of many witnesses, commit to faithful men who will be able to teach others also. Think about that description just for a second. Strong in grace, faithful, able to teach others. I can't think of some better descriptors for our families, for a student, for a mom or a dad than being strong in grace, faithful, and able to teach others. This is the model that Paul sets forth to Timothy. It says, these are the people you're looking for. And then from that starting point, Paul kind of he's a good teacher. He gives a couple of illustrations. He has the illustration of a soldier. He says, listen, this is kind of one aspect that you could see this. A soldier's faithful, a soldier's strong, a soldier's able to teach. He skips down and he has the illustration of a farmer. Somebody who is, a farmer needs to be strong. A farmer needs to be patient in some of these things and faithful. And then he has what we're going to key in on today in verse 5, the illustration of an athlete. An athlete. Let me read it to you. This is verse 5. He says, if anyone competes as an athlete, he's not crowned unless he competes according to the rule. The Greek word for athlete there is akesis. Askesis. This is where we get the word kinesthetic, movement. And here's what it means. It means to train, to discipline, or to confine or focus. To train, discipline, or confine or focus. You realize talent grows by confinement. If I'm going to go to the gym and work out, I can do one rep of everything, but if I focus in on my biceps, or I focus in on my legs, or I focus in on my core, I'm confining the strength to a certain area, and growth happens. You'll see this a lot of times. Pro athletes who play a lot of sports growing up, they confine themselves to one and they grow. My goal for your home is that we would confine ourselves, that we would apprentice ourselves under Jesus in order to grow. And so the question is, where is your area of confinement? Where is your area that you need to take a step in this area of being an athlete? This could be in your family, this could be in your parenting, this could be you student, as a student growing as someone who's trying to follow God. I love sports. I love playing sports. Maybe you do, maybe you don't like sports at all, but you understand the principle of sports, which is you're competing for a prize. You're competing for something that is opportunistic in your future as an athlete. And this is what he says. He says, you don't get the crown, you don't get the victory unless you compete according to the rules. There is a prize that's available to you as a disciple of Jesus and to your home, I believe, as a follower of Jesus. But you don't get it unless you compete the right way. And so, what are the wrong ways? The wrong ways that we compete, I think, are twofold. One is a spectator. A spectator. Now, we love being a spectator. I love watching people play sports. I love going to our student sports games. I love all of that. But a spectator is not in the game. A lot of times we're super scared to fail when it comes to following Jesus, or just fail in any area of our life. Fail as a parent, fail as a student, fail as trying. You try to connect with your teenager, they shut you down. Like all of those things would fail. But the only people who can actually fail are the ones who are in the game. And what's the old quote by Teddy Roosevelt? The man in the arena is the one who with blood on his face, but he's the one who gets the cheers and the boos. He's the only one who knows the taste of success. So here's a question for your home, for you as a disciple of Jesus. Where are you just spectating? There's a danger. God has blessed us in this ministry. He is doing some crazy things all around us. I mean, it's not us. I was talking with Mr. Likens. We're not that good. We said literally that statement, some of the things that God's doing, we're not that good. But here's the danger. It's the danger for your home. I'm going to say it that specifically. Because you're a part of a ministry where God is just doing some crazy things, and it is God. The danger is to say that by default, by osmosis, you're experiencing the same supernatural effects. Let me give you an illustration. I'm in my office right now. If you come in my office, you'll see Auburn memorabilia all over. I love Auburn football. I love watching. I cheer hard. I try to sway the outcome. And so what will happen a lot of times is if Auburn wins a game and I was sitting there and someone asks me, I'll say something like this. I'll say, we won. My team won. The reality is I did nothing. I was just a spectator. I didn't sweat. I didn't give money. I didn't go to practice. I didn't make a pass. I didn't do anything. All I did was I spectated, and by being around the energy of the TV, I feel like I won. There's a danger in that. You can experience the great service. You can experience the great ministry that I think we have, and experience some of the fringes of what God's doing, and it can feel like that you're in the game. But are you? Are you in the game for the discipleship for Jesus? Student, are you in the game? Or are you just a spectator? Parents, are you in the game? Are you just a spectator? Is your home in the game? And let me ask it this way. Where are you risking for the kingdom of God? That's a tough question. Where are you risking for the kingdom of God? A great illustration, I hope I don't embarrass them, I'm not going to use their name, but there was a family who has students in our youth group who wanted to bring some friends to teen class. Their vehicle wasn't big enough to hold them all. And so they would bring them kind of on this rotation. And then one day I got a text and they said, hey, we got a van. We got a van in order to bring these students to teen class. And I thought two things. I thought first, wow, what an unbelievable privilege to steward that type of generosity. But then also they took a risk. They were in the game to promote discipleship in their home. And I think that's critical. So where are you just a spectator? Where are you sitting on the sidelines going, I'm just comfortable. I just like to watch. I want to cheer. I want to yell at the screen, but I don't want to get dirty. I don't want to get sweaty. It takes intentionality in order to be an athlete that follows Jesus. The second thing is this. The second thing is not just the cheater or I said it wrong, I already gave you the answer. It's not just the spectator, but the cheater. There's another way to seek after being an athlete, but not the right way, not the way that gets the crown. And this is the cheater. The cheater is one who plays the game, but they don't play it according to the rules. And so here's the question to think about on this. Where are you tempted to cut corners or to scheme in order to get a blessing in your life? In order to get that crown, the prize that's promised to the athlete, where are you tempted to cut corners, to life hack your way to a good home, to a discipleship? Students, where are you tempted to cut corners in order to get the blessing that God has required you. See, the danger with the cheater is that for a season, it works better. For a season, the performance-enhancing drugs help you hit more home runs for a season. But eventually you get found out and everything is stripped away from you. The cheater can exhibit better performance at the start, but it doesn't last. It doesn't last. I heard it said this way. It's the difference between organic growth and viral growth. Organic growth is kind of boring. It takes time. It's where you plant a seed, you water the seed, you come back later, you water it again, there's nothing, you hope it rains, you hope the sun comes, and eventually you get a little sprout, and then after a year you get a little bigger tree, and then some fruit, and it takes time. It takes time. Viral growth is fast. It goes crazy all of a sudden, just really fast, like gasoline on a fire, just all this stuff. You know the best illustration we have of viral growth in our world? If organic growth is like the tree that just takes time, viral growth is like cancer. It just begins to grow. This is what happens in the body when cancer comes. The cells begin to expand and multiply at a rate that is not sustainable for human life. And eventually, it begins to deteriorate. Listen to me. Spiritual growth is slow. Your goal in your home, your goal, students, as you follow after Jesus, should be deep roots. Taking the time to play by the rules. Taking the time to make the intentional steps towards discipling your home after Jesus. This is not just a once go to camp and it's all fixed. This is not just show up on Sunday and that's enough. This is daily taking the steps, not trying to cheat, not trying to hack the system, but intentionally pursuing after the things of God as an athlete. So let me do this. Let's finish up. I'm going to give you four ways that you can be a good athlete who plays by the rule, and that your home, you can take a step towards becoming the disciple of Jesus he wants you to be. So 4 ways. The first one is this: load management. I'm going to use athletic terms. If you don't know what that means, let me explain. Load management is where you understand you have limits. You can't do everything. Most of us run at a pace that's just unsustainable for spiritual growth. Do you have sustainable rhythms in your home? Are you just running so much? Like parents, this is something you're gonna have to practice in your own life and then helping your kids, because you've got to teach them, hey, listen, you need rhythms that bring you back to God. I heard it said this way: build a trellis. Do you know what a trellis is? It's where you grow up a vine or a rose or something like that. It needs something to hold on to. Build a trellis that your spiritual life rests on. So what are the rhythms in your life where you are coming back to God on a regular basis, or are you just pressing so hard? Because what happens if you don't have load management, you eventually burn out. And this is what we see. I've seen it in families. I've seen it in students who they're just running. They've got so many practices, so many deadlines, so many things that eventually they go, I just can't handle it. And their spiritual life is the one that suffers because of it. So the first one is load management. The second one is this: you train how you compete. How you compete in the game is how you train. We have one word for this: practice. This is what this means. If you, parents, if you want your student to be a godly 25-year-old who's living on their own, loving their family, doing some great things, then you got to train now. Students, if you want down the road to be somebody who loves Jesus, you've got to start training right now. You practice. How you play in the game is how you practiced. Train prior in short bursts for the real thing. So right now, you may not be a home that has prayer and discipleship as a regular rhythm in your home. That's okay. Practice. Take one step. A practice is where a coach comes in, he goes, hey, we're going to work on this one skill today in order to, when we need it in the game, we know how to do it. Practice how you want to pray. Practice how you want to play. The third thing is this: think through regret. It doesn't sound like a very popular thing to say, but think through regret. I think there's 4 types of regret that you can come up against in your life. All of them should be something that you should look at your current structure of your life and go, am I going to regret this? Okay, here's the regrets. Moral regret. Is there something in your life that if it continues for the next 10 years that you're going to look back and go, I wish that wasn't there? Change it. Do something about it right now. Take a step as an athlete that loves Jesus, okay? The second one is foundational regrets. These are regrets of things that you're building something that down the road you can't change. You just can't change it. It's the way it is. Are there foundational regrets? You get one shot with those kiddos. You get one shot to be a sophomore in high school who loves Jesus. Are there foundational regrets? Right now I'm building a house and I had to build a foundation. I can't come when it comes time to paint and go, you know what? We're going to reset that foundation. Not how it works. Foundational regrets. What about connection regrets? There are places of connection and relationships that need to be founded right now. Are you going to go 10 years and look back and go, man, I blew some of the connection points, some of the community points? I hear so often people come to me and go, my student can't make friends, or we can't get connected. And I kind of have started to push back a little bit and go, guys, you have the choice on that. So what type of home do you want? What type of person do you want to be? Do you want to be a person who has deep relationships? This is going to take intentionality. This is going to take you getting outside your comfort zone, getting to know people, failing in the process and going, man, we did not connect with that people. Let's find our people. Understanding that relationships are worth the risk pursuing, and you need them in your home, in your life. Connection regrets. And then boldness regrets. Where would you look back and go, man, I played the coward there? If I could go back, how many times you've heard someone older, if I could go back, I would take more risk. I would love more. I would be more consistent in my faith. I would be bold for the things of God. I would be bold. So 4 things to be an athlete. We said load management. We said practice, train how you want to compete. And then get a perspective, regret. The last one is this: a scouting report. A scouting report. Here's all a scouting report is. If you're not familiar with that term, all it is when you're playing an opponent, you go and you figure out their strengths and their weaknesses, what they're good at, what they're not good at, and you figure out how to compete against them. I'm not talking about your opponent. I think you should do a scouting report on yourself and your home. This is something where you look at your home and you go, what are we good at? What are we not good at? What are the strengths, the fears, the weaknesses, the places of potential breakdown? You begin to examine what you're doing well, because all of your homes are doing something well, and what you're doing poorly when it comes to following after Jesus. So to close out, let me give you some questions to think of that. So what is your home, maybe you or your home, what are you most driven by? Is it sports? Is it success? Is it finances? Is it looking good? Is it Jesus? Is it loving people? What are you most driven by? What about this? When you fail or have a lapse of judgment, do you see a pattern that comes before breakdown? So is there an area where it's just a consistent theme in your home that there's just a lot of yelling? There's just a lot of laziness. There's just a lot of fill in the blank. Do you see a pattern that comes before that? Be interesting to write down and let God do some work on that. What desire do you feel like has the most potential to harm you in your life? Wow. What desire do you feel like has the most potential to harm you in your life? Is it sex? Is it food? Is it money? Is it praise? What could bring harm? What about this? What do others consistently mention as a frustration or a point of tension with you? What do others consistently mention as a point of frustration or a point of tension with you? These questions would be great to discuss as a family. I know that's a risk. I know that takes some I'm not sure. I don't know if I want the answer. But until we get the answer, we can't grow. We can't change. What about this simple one? What are you good at? What's your home good at? What are you as a dad good at? What are you as a student good at? Where is your strength being applied? Where is your strength being applied? One more. What do others consistently mention or come to you to ask for help? Where do they come to you? Where do others consistently mention or come to you to ask for help? This is kind of a variety of questions. Some of these are to get you to think of, and you can go back and listen to these again. But like some of these that get you kind of thought-provoking, you go, that kind of stings. This is where the coach goes, you're really good at shooting. You don't rebound the ball well at all. Okay, I know where I need to work on rebounding. Okay, great. Some of these are, man, you think you're not a good shooter, but people consistently come to you for a certain aspect. Maybe you need to step into that more. Maybe you need to level up in all of these things. Remember the goal. The goal is that Jesus has promised us that if we'll follow after him as athletes, to use this illustration, then he has blessings that await. There are blessings that await you, student, if you want to follow after Jesus, if you want to train. But it takes intentionality. It takes competing accordingly. It takes getting in the game, not being a spectator. And so my prayer for your homes is that you'll be teams, family teams, that are competing for a prize that is worth it. Your homes are worth it. I believe in you. I just want you to know that I love you guys. I really do. I don't know where you're watching this. I don't know what it is find you. I don't know what frustration you just stepped in or out of. But I love you. And I love your home. And I want to see your home take intentional steps this year when it comes to following Jesus. We'll see you next week at teen class. We'll be there. I'm excited for that. And I'm excited about some of the things that are coming along the way. I love you guys. Have a great day.